Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Reborn as a Snake, Turning into a Dragon. Chapter 121. Kong Cheng, Kong Cheng. Xiao Qish screamed in panic, his knees almost hit the ground. With wings, the tall and straight Peacock King stood in front of Xiao Qish in a flash. The Buddha's light around him was strong, forming a golden bell cover of Buddhism, which completely covered Xiao Qish's body. Suddenly, the powerful Long Way was blocked. What? Call. Xiao Qish fell to the ground gasping for breath, looking at the Imperial court. Can't help but have a trace of fear. Yinglong is too scary. The other party just came with a body, and I couldn't bear a look. Only the Peacock King with 200,000 years of Taoism can be spared from the dragon's prestige emitted by the entire spirit guard. Before, I always looked at Yinglong on the other side of Tianxing Mountain from a distance. The so-called sky is high and the emperor is far away, it doesn't make much sense. Only now did Xiao Qish truly realize what it is to be the overlord of the dragon, looking down on the world. As a prince, he was later named the Prince of Qiju, so he was not a waste. He is also a master of body training. In addition, Qianlong's fate is also blessed by a part of the great 673 Ming luck. It is difficult for ghosts to get close. But in front of Yinglong, who came with his body, everything is like a fiction. At this time, it was as if the Imperial Master had been completely reborn, and his entire appearance and aura had undergone earth-shaking changes. His eyebrows are like swords, his eyes are like stars, his body is majestic and imposing, and there are countless phantoms of dragons lingering around his body. Just by looking at it, you can be overwhelmed by the opponent's powerful aura. Yinglong Tianju, you are too presumptuous. This king is the Prince of Qiju, and he is the Prince of the East Palace. Please come to the appointment, but you are so rude. Xiao Qish took a few breaths and hurriedly stood up. The disrespect just now made him lose face. If it gets out, it will have an impact on his reputation. Then, that Imperial Master ignored Xiao Qish and fixed his piercing eyes on the Peacock King. A cold light flashed across his eyes. Without further ado, he clenched his fist with one hand and punched the Peacock King. A simple punch without any moves. But the aura of the master in front of the Imperial court was as high as that of an emperor, and he said sickly. Obviously without any bells and whistles. This punch was perfect and reached its peak. There are also phantom derivatives in fist wind, dragon scales, beards, dragon heads, dragon claws, west tail. Accompanied by a terrifying dragon roar. This is the real dragon fist. The momentum and power of Dragon Fist climbed to the strongest and most brilliant extreme. In the whole world, there is no skill that can punch such a domineering long-way punch. Your Highness, back away. The Peacock King's expression changed, he didn't dare to be careless, and quickly used his arms to block. Boom. After the Peacock King blocked, he backed up more than 10 steps. That feeling is like being bitten by a real dragon, which is very uncomfortable. The Imperial Master smiled coldly. He completely let go of his hands and feet, and a burst of fists all beckoned to the Peacock King. There was a bang 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 in the whole hall. The Peacock King reacted defensively and let out a muffled sound. When a punch was blocked, all internal organs swelled. It didn't even fight back, so it used double blocking. Minimize damage. His Highness wants to talk to Yinglong, and Yinglong wants to vent his anger. It can only be a little daughter-in-law. After hundreds of punches. Damn, what the hell, this body is too weak. The master in front of the Imperial court cursed angrily, and made a sound of dissatisfaction with the trees. Lin Mu looked at Xiao Qish. You want to talk to Ben Long, right? Xiao Qish had a happy expression, and just about to answer, the other party said, you order that Birdman not to defend, let Ben Long beat you up and talk about it. He was embarrassed. Isn't it enough that you punched so much just now? You must know that the Peacock King only yelled at you back then. The Peacock King was forced to stand in a corner, his expression extremely gloomy. I felt extremely aggrieved. If you don't agree, Ben Long will leave now, this is the only chance to talk. Lin Mu has a strong attitude and didn't joke just now. The body of this human master was too weak, so the Birdman defended himself. Nothing hurt at all. Xiao Qish was very eager to talk to Yinglong, so he looked at the Peacock King. Kong Cheng, otherwise you will be wrong. He knew very well that Yinglong couldn't get out of his anger, even if he talked, he couldn't talk about anything. Now Yinglong is just a possessed body with limited strength, the body protector of the Peacock King for 200,000 years. At most suffer a little flesh and blood. Yinglong himself came to revenge. The consequences would be serious. Why doesn't the Peacock King understand this truth? It's just that he is honored as the Demon King of the Deep Mountains. When did you experience this kind of anger? If you are beaten, you can't fight back, and you can't defend yourself. The little daughter-in-law doesn't take such annoyance. However, under Xiao Qisha's constant eye gestures, the Peacock King had no choice but to lower his blocking arms. Defense wide open. Lin Mu raised his chin slightly and looked at the Peacock King. His eyes seemed to be indifferent and contained contempt from above. He raised his feet and walked up to the Peacock King step by step. I haven't felt this grounded in a long time. This possessing a human body, gave Lin Mo a feeling of rebirth as a human being. Back then, when you yelled at Benlong, was it so cool? Lin Mu stared at the Peacock King face to face, and his lips were slightly sore. There was a hint of playfulness in those domineering eyes. The Peacock King kept a dark face and said nothing, secretly cursing Xiaoqish in his heart for not being a thing. In order to please Yinglong, he pushes himself out. But it had already boarded Xiaoqish's thief ship and became the head teacher of the spirit guards. There is no way out. Lin Mu raised his head and punched the Peacock King firmly. Bend it directly. Blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. What did Benlong ask you? Was it so cool to yell at the beginning? Lin Mu punched the Peacock King again. Killing intent arose in the Peacock King's eyes, wishing he could swallow the man in front of him alive. Too much deception. How does it return? Said it was cool to shout. Boom. Another explosive punch hit the Peacock King's abdomen. Ah! The Peacock King was in pain and spit out a mouthful of blood. This is not defensive at all, even if it is profound, it can't stand it. Birdman, you are not a good demon king in the deep mountain, but you have to be the eagle dog of the human race. How is it now? Lin Mu was extremely sarcastic, and his eyes were full of contempt. If you want to fight, you can fight, what's the point? The Peacock King had a look of resentment, and couldn't help but go back to the room. Aha, you still dare to talk back, see if Benlong can't kill you. Lin Mu jumped up, punched the Peacock King to the ground, and then used both hands and feet. Bang 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 at the Peacock King is a crazy output. Fist to the flesh, feet to the head. Try to maximize the damage. Poor Peacock King, Taoism is profound, and he only cultivates monsters. The Emperor personally appointed the chief teacher of the Guardian of the Spirit, and was of the same rank. It is almost at the same level as Wei Yan and Chungwang Temple. Being so beaten up now. His whole body was broken, with feathers flying around, pits, tendons and bones, and blood gushing out like a blowout. How miserable, how sad. Xiaoqish couldn't bear to stand by, and wanted to stop him, but was afraid of offending Yinglong. Kong Qing, I really wronged you, I will definitely make it up to you afterwards. He meditated in his heart. But in fact, Xiaoqish was very happy. The harder Yinglong hit, the more angry he was. By the day will be easy to talk about. After half an hour, Lin Mu, possessed by the Imperial Master, was so addicted to beating that he was gasping for breath. The Peacock King fell into a pool of blood. It looked like it was dying. Birdman, don't yell like nothing in the future. Next time Benlong won't be as simple as beating you up, understand? Answer, do you understand? Lin Mu kills people. The Peacock King just wanted to end this innocent disaster as soon as possible, so he hummed in humiliation. Xiaoqish stood up with a smile. Yinglong Tianju, can we talk now? Talk about what? Tired, go back to rest. Go back to rest. As soon as these words came out, Xiaoqish's face changed quickly, which meant a lot. Then look at the master in front of the Imperial court, the whole person is like petrified. The whole body's momentum suddenly weakened, and the dragon's power no longer permeated the body. Bai Long Tianju, don't make such jokes with me. Xiaoqish called again tentatively. Pong, the Imperial master exploded on the spot and turned into blood mist. Xiaoqish was splattered with blood all over, and was extremely embarrassed. The whole figure is like a clay sculpture and wood carving, stuck there. At a loss, still can't react. With the disappearance of Long Wei, a large number of guards rushed in from outside the hall. Seeing Xiaoqish's distressed appearance, he knelt down in fear. No one dared to make a sound. After a long time, Xiaoqish came back to his senses, his expression gradually twisted ferociously, his forehead was covered with veins. He roared madly outside the hall. Yinglong Tianzhu, if you dare to play tricks on me like this, I, Xiaoqish, swear that I will never die with you. The voice is full of resentment, as if dissociated. From childhood to adulthood, Xiaoqi, who was loved by thousands of people, tried the taste of failure for the first time. It was the first time someone slapped me hard in the face. He never thought that the dignified Yinglong with 5 claws would play a rascal with himself. Beat the Peacock King violently and leave. No credibility at all. Not to mention him, the Prince of the 7 Beads. From the beginning to the end, Yinglong was not prepared to talk to himself. Everything is just a game. And he even pushed his confidant, the Peacock King, out. Originally thought that if he subdued Yinglong, the Peacock King would be useless. Lose it. But now he lost his wife and lost his army. After Xiaoqish finished roaring, he calmed down a little, and looked towards the Peacock King's position. It's not him who is most wrong now. The Peacock King slowly got up from the pool of blood, his whole body was covered with cuts and bruises, his tendons and veins were severed, and even the wings on his back were broken. Kong Qing, are you okay? Xiaoqish hurriedly ran over, expressing his deep concern. There were still tears in the eyes. The Peacock King burst out a black demonic aura, and he always liked to illuminate it with Buddha's light. At this time, it was like falling into hell, reduced to a magic bird. It looks very scary. Protect your highness. Seeing this, the guards turned pale with fright, and surrounded Xiaoqish to protect him. Staring at the Peacock King vigilantly, Xiaoqish flashed a flash of panic. He couldn't lose the Peacock King if he didn't win over Yinglong. Otherwise, there would be no one to guard his spirit guards. He also knew that it was a bit too much for him to push the Peacock King to Yinglong. Kong Qing, I wronged you just now. It was my fault. Don't worry, I will avenge you. Peacock King's demonic aura boiled over, and the injuries on his body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not long after, the evil spirit dissipated, and the Buddha's light shone everywhere. The magic bird turned into a Buddha bird again. It gives people a feeling of spring breeze. But at this time, the Peacock King gave people a feeling of repelling others thousands of miles away. It said lightly, you don't need to worry about mere physical pain, but Yinglong's attitude is probably not ready to reconcile with my spirit guard. HMPH, that damned dragon has done such an outrageous thing. Even if it wants to reconcile in the future, this king will not agree to it. This king will definitely find back the face I lost, and will help Kong Qing vent your anger. Isn't it just to be promoted to the 5-clawed dragon? It really turned the sky of my Ming dynasty. Xiaoqish was filled with righteous indignation. He said these words not just to express his position. It is more to appease the Peacock King's emotions. I have never been angry with the other party in my life, so I will definitely let it go. Your Highness, Kong Huang has no anger in his heart. I yell at Yinglong, and Yinglong beats me up. One bird and one dragon are evenly matched. However, your Highness is respectful, and your face cannot be easily lost. The Peacock King spoke quietly, his eyes wide open. Xiaoqish smiled awkwardly. Yes, what Kong Qing said makes sense. Kong Qing, what do you think we should do now? It is impossible to negotiate with Yinglong. If you can't eat fish, you will feel fishy all over your body. This idea can be cut off. Yinglong doesn't take your Highness seriously, and doesn't take the spirit guard seriously, so we can't treat him as too comfortable. Your Highness, the pilot project in the suburbs may not achieve the effect we want. If the ghost bosses don't come to seek refuge, our spirit guards will not be able to grow bigger. I'm afraid there is only a risky move by soldiers. The Peacock King moved his mouth but made no sound. In the latter words, it actually uses the method of sound transmission for thousands of miles. However, Xiaoqish's expression gradually became more exciting. Meow, meow, Kong Qing's plan is good. If it succeeds, all the ghosts in the world don't want to take refuge in me, and there will be no spirit guards. The royal study room in the Imperial Palace. An eunuch on duty received a rumor and came to the Imperial study to report it. He chatted for a while. Ming Xuanwang's face changed a little, and finally he was slightly displeased. Qianlong's fate, if you have to be escorted by Yinglong, you will surely ascend to the sky. This sentence came from there, because it wanted to dirty King Chi's body. Water. The eunuch on duty knelt on the ground and replied tremblingly, I don't know the source, but it's just spread like this outside. I pass on my wool. If such words appear again in the Sangong and 6th courtyard of the great inner palace, I will be immediately executed, no matter who it is. Twitter. After a while, a guard came in from outside the door, and there was another update in Zhu. Emperor Zan of Ming Dynasty couldn't help shaking his head in disappointment after hearing this. I didn't take the rumors seriously, but it seems that King Chi took it seriously, and actually used the method of inviting the gods to force Yinglong to come to protect the spirit guard to attend the appointment. What a shame. Thinking of things too simply. The overlord of the dragon dare not even give me face, let alone a prince of 7 beads. You are too young. I understand that you want to win over Yinglong, but if you use the wrong method, you will suffer. Ming Xuanwang's eyes flickered for a while, and he asked, what's going on in the East Palace? The prince is studying behind closed doors, and has never made any moves. The East Palace has been very quiet. Only a few days ago, the Empress went there once. I have accepted King Chi's advice and set up a spirit guard. How can the crown prince sit still? No one dares to repeat this sentence. Ming Xuanwang suddenly smiled. The rumors just now are not all nonsense. At least the second half of the sentence is correct. You have to be escorted by Yinglong, and you are indeed qualified to be the next emperor of the Ming dynasty, but who is the crown prince or King Chi? It all depends on their own ability to win over Yinglong. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the Imperial study room turned pale with fright. It was as if a knife had been hung above his head, ready to fall at any moment. Plop, 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 all knelt down, trembling. What are you afraid of? What I just said, you are allowed to spread it, innocent. However, the eunuchs and guards shook their heads wildly. Who is the next emperor of Ming dynasty? This kind of word must not be passed on lightly. Even with Emperor Mingshuan's permission, no one would dare. Who knows if this human sovereign is tempting? I want to take the opportunity to eliminate those talkative minions around me. Besides, it is too early to determine the next emperor of Ming dynasty. Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty was in his prime of life, wise and powerful. If the suns want to go to the sky, they have to wait for the sun to set on the sky above their heads. Ming Xuanwang thought deeply. What he said just now was by no means joking. 5-Claw Yinglong, the overlord of the dragon. How can such a divine beast really let the other party roam the world? Ignore the Ming court. If it is a dragon, it will be coiled. King Chi was swayed by Yinglong. The news actually made Ming Zan very dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied with Xiao Qisha's carelessness, and actually used the method of inviting a god to force Yinglong. In the end, I lost face. The emperor was even more dissatisfied with Yinglong's rudeness. Does any of you know why the founder Tezu named his country Daming? Ming Xuanwang looked at the servant who was kneeling on the ground, and spoke quietly. The eyes of a younger eunuch serving tea were shining. This is a great opportunity to perform. If you answer well, maybe you will be able to get ahead. He respectfully bowed and kowtowed to Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty, and said, returning to your majesty, the two characters of the great Ming are the combination of the sun and the moon, and the universe is determined by the way of heaven. The greatness of the great Ming is unparalleled in the world, and the brightness of the great Ming is immortal. Ha ha ha, good job. Ming Xuanwang laughed loudly when he heard the words, stared at the little eunuch and said, what's your name, how old are you? Returning to your majesty, my slave, Xiao Guizi, has just turned 18 this year. Reward. Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty, Long Yan, said a word of reward in great joy. The greatness of the Ming dynasty is unparalleled in the world, and the brightness of the great Ming dynasty will last forever. Even if it is a 5-clawed dragon, it shouldn't be above Da Ming. Instead, it was placed on the imperial land of Ming dynasty. Wolongtan. Lin Mu suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes flashed joy and hatred. Happy. It was too much fun just now. I have to force labor and capital to beat you up. This birdman is really pissed. The opponent invited God to his upper body several times, but Lin Mu ignored it. The Peacock King also sent voice transmission thousands of miles away to provoke him. He also asked him why he didn't dare to attend the appointment. Lin Mu just laughed. He could only lean over to help Birdman loosen his muscles and bones. As for the guardian of the spirit, Lin Mu didn't pay much attention to this newly established organization. The foundation is not stable, and he dare not provoke himself at all. Now he doesn't even pay attention to the demon-slaying division and the immortal division. This new establishment is a piece of shit. As for His Royal Highness King Qi, Lin Mu made a move for him. Don't be afraid that the other party will hold a grudge. He is not even the prince of the East Palace, and he wants to win him over. Just daydreaming. Master, what's the matter? You just lost your 6 spirits, your soul wandered away, and your primordial spirit came out of your body. Zhongli, who was practicing near Lin Mu's body, spoke in a deep voice. I just took a short errand, let's continue to practice. Lin Mu turned on the million-fold time acceleration again. He made up his mind to let Zhongli be promoted to the 2nd rank before going back. As for how long it will take, Lin Mu is not sure. Time is like running water, and 2 months have passed in the blink of an eye. One day, the god of city god who offered Shanxi received a message. The demon slayer has sent someone to send a carefully crafted gift to Wolongtan in Tianxing Mountain. As for what kind of gift it is, Wei Yan locked the news tightly. Unable to find out. Oh, it's really a slow step, I have already lost the opportunity. Lord Chengwang sighed and shook his head. Now all the forces want to build a good relationship with Wukla Yinglong. It's just that Yinglong is not easy to please. Some time ago, King Qi invited Yinglong to attend the appointment at the Guardian of the Spirit. It ended up being a joke. Has Judge Zhang not returned yet? City God would ask this question almost every day. I haven't returned, it's been February in Wolongtan. One chief officer said sympathetically. Hearing the words, the city god couldn't bear it and said, I've really wronged Judge Zhang. He was sent to Wolongtan, but he couldn't come back for 2 months. It must have been tortured by Yinglong. This snake turns into a dragon, born with the bad roots of revenge. I hate it so much. Almost got it. For Xi'an Division is sorry for it. But send a 3rd-rank judge to vent your anger on you. Are you angry for 2 months? The city god is very anxious now. You must know that the apology for killing the monster has already been delivered. He hasn't started yet. Now Gong Shanxi is facing a difficulty. That is, most of the incense in the world is now divided by Yinglong. Recently, Shendu, a ghost from all walks of life, has been starved to death. The city god wanted to build a good relationship with Yinglong, so that Yinglong could spit out some incense. Otherwise, Shendu, the ghost of Gong Shanxi, wants to suck people's yang energy. Report, the immortal chief, Zhang Wan is back. A ghost soldier reported. City god's eyes lit up. Let Judge Zhang come to the hall quickly. Shortly after, a gust of wind howled, and in the hall, a shadow with an extremely powerful ghostly aura manifested. Dressed in a red robe, with a stature of more than 10 feet, he looks calm and majestic, and his aura is extraordinarily strong. It gives people a feeling that the gods are above, and all living beings kneel down to suppress 5. All the ghosts and gods in the main hall of the town god's temple suddenly became surprised. This is Judge Zhang. Zhongli pays homage to Master Chengwang Shanchang. Zhongli, dressed in a red robe and with a powerful aura, knelt in front of the city god, who was in the highest position. The expression is serious. Zhongli, you actually got promoted to the 2nd rank. City god was taken aback, and even couldn't believe his eyes. Didn't he suffer in Wolongtan? How come it's been 2 months, and I've been promoted to the rank realm? For the official position of Shanxi, it is divided according to the grade. 4 rank 3 judges, 24 rank 4 chief officials, 12 division rank 4 ghost generals, 10 rank 5 yin commanders. The rank of the chief officer is similar to that of the general, waiting to be filled. The official position above the judge is the 2nd rank inspector general, and the 1st rank judicial justice. Because of an accident many years ago, the position of chief inspector Gong Shanxi has been vacant. As long as the 4 major judges, whoever can be promoted is equivalent to being promoted. The status of the inspector general is only below the city god. If the city god is not present, the entire immortal division will be decided by the chief inspector alone. In addition, if Lord Chengwang falls, then the chief inspector will be the next Chengwang aldehyde. Zhongli can be promoted, all thanks to the blessing of the fairy head, sent Zhongli to Crouching Dragon Lake, got the dragon spirit of the dragon overlord, and luckily broke the shackles. Got dragon chi promotion. All the ghosts and gods in the hall were stunned when they heard the words. This has this kind of operation. Is this a blessing in disguise? The ghosts and gods who sympathized with Zhongli before became envious and jealous. It is very difficult for ghosts and gods to advance to rank. It is far from enough to just abide by one's duty, it also requires a lot of luck and chance. Now it seems that Zhongli's promotion by being a dragon belongs to his good fortune. City God was stunned for a moment, and had to lament Zhongli's shit luck. The world is impermanent, and fortune and misfortune depend on each other. Not at all involuntary. Zhongli of this faction used to vent his anger on Yinglong, but now he is promoted with the dragon's spirit. Nothing to say, it's someone else's. Officer Zhong's good fortune is extraordinary. Congratulations from my god, let's get down to business, the task assigned to you can be completed. Zhongli replied respectfully. In response to Long Tianju's request, Shanxi needs to create a special large-capacity incense instrument for him, and there is an additional condition. Incense magic weapon. Hearing this, City God stared at Zhongli with piercing eyes. The heart is turbulent. Yinglong is no more than a soil turtle deep in the mountains, and he was a little snake king back then. I haven't even gone down the mountain a few times. How could he ask for an incense stick? It must have been pointed out by an expert. And this expert is probably the Judge Zhang, who is far away in the sky and right in front of his eyes. Promoted by Dragon Chi. Now it seems that there may be something strange in it. If the city god knows the truth, Zhongli and Yinglong must have reached some kind of win-win agreement. Incense artifacts are absolutely useless. There are tens of thousands of Yinglong believers, and we ghosts and gods are almost forced to have no incense to enjoy. He wants to get incense artifacts because he wants to follow the path of incense cultivation. The ghosts and gods in the hall exploded, and their faces changed drastically. That's right, Chief Immortal, we cannot agree to this condition. Incense and magic artifacts are a big deal, and they will have too much impact on our immortal division. We can't cut off our own arms. Immortal Chief, Yinglong is clearly murdering people, and he has absolutely no intention of getting along with us Shanxi in peace. The last time Yinglong manifested, he vigorously absorbed the incense of the people. Although it is a suburban pilot for spirit guards, it is also sold well. Fortunately, Yinglong did it just once. 2 months passed, and the people of the world gradually calmed down. I will also go to other temples to offer offerings. If Yinglong gets the incense stick, he will call on the people again. Then 9 out of 10 incenses in the world belong to Yinglong. The ghosts and gods of all walks of life for the immortal division have to follow the spiritual creatures canonized by the guardian spirit guards to eat the land and throw them away. City God's face became gloomy. He originally wanted to build a good relationship with Yinglong. Tell Yinglong not to eat incense. Dare to love Yinglong still has to follow the incense cultivation route, right? As a dragon overlord like him, the effect of incense on him is really limited. Disgusting and disgusting spirit guards are fine. You're really over the top. Judge Zhang, you must be clear about the pros and cons of incense instruments. You didn't ask Yinglong to change one of the conditions. City God stared at Zhongli with a bad tone. Zhongli did not rush, and replied meticulously. Is it least Shanchang? Yinglong said, he can only absorb the incense on the 1st and 15th day of the Lunar New Year, and the usual incense is not necessary. You Yinglong, you are really smart. The 1st and 15th day of the Lunar New Year is the day to worship the gods. The incense burnt in those 2 days is more than the usual half a month. Furthermore, if he says no, then don't, the people of the world will still offer sacrifices for him as usual. The ghosts and gods complained angrily. Yinglong said that he can tell the people all over the world that he only accepts the worship incense on the 15th day of the Lunar New Year. In addition, he will also specifically explain that the believers of the people should go to the temples of Shanxi to offer incense on weekdays. As soon as Zhongli said this, the voice in the hall suddenly became much quieter. Many ghosts and gods secretly said, this is more or less the same. If Yinglong only needs to worship the gods for 2 days, the rest of the incense will be given to Shanxi. That condition is not unacceptable. As long as you don't get robbed by the spirit guards, that's fine. City God's complexion also softened a lot. Yinglong's being able to do this was considered a bit of sincerity. It was a face for Gong Shanxi, and he didn't kill them all. Block the road. According to the current situation, the city god knows very well that there must be no more friction with Yinglong. Did it mean that he, the first-rank righteous god of justice, or the entire Gong Shanxi was really afraid of that dragon? Rather, it is the current trend. Because you are hostile to Yinglong, there is no benefit at all. It's just that there are many days of worshipping gods and offering sacrifices on the 1st and 15th day of the Lunar New Year. All the ghosts pointed to a big meal that day. Even the city god can't bear it. Zhongli observed secretly, and saw that the city god was not so strictly guarded. Continue to imperceptibly say, "Immortal Chief, I have really tried my best. It is really not easy for Yinglong to agree to enjoy incense for 2 days. Besides, the day of worshipping God on the 1st and 15th day of the Lunar New Year depends entirely on the wishes of the believers. Dragons won't meddle. At that time, the 8 immortals will cross the sea and each will show their supernatural powers. I have been in charge of the immortal division for many years to protect the people from ghosts and ghosts. There is no merit but hard work. There are still a large number of believers who are willing to offer sacrifices to our ghosts and gods on that day. No monopoly. Where believers want to get angry, it is all voluntary. Yinglong is so considerate. The ghosts and gods in the hall suddenly felt that it was not too much for Yinglong to ask for a magic weapon of incense. After all, others only need 2 days of incense, and they don't engage in monopoly. It is very sincere. City God paid attention to everyone's reactions. From the strong opposition at the beginning, to the silent nod of acceptance now. I can't help shaking my head in my heart. Yinglong doesn't seem to be doing everything right, nor is he monopolizing. But when it really came to the day of worshipping God on the 15th day of the Lunar New Year, the other party was the dominant family. The admiration of the people all over the world for the 5-clawed dragon is like the waters of the East China Sea, erupting endlessly. As long as Yinglong accepts the offering, the common people will not go to other temples to offer incense. Yinglong himself knows this very well, so he speaks so nicely. However, Lord Chengwang also knew that it seemed that Gong Shanxi had no other choice. If you don't agree, you can only agree. If he refuses, as soon as Yinglong's temper comes up, he will manifest every day and accept the incense of the people. Then it's too late to regret. Now I just lost the incense of worshipping God for 2 days. You can't lose the big because of the small. At this time, Chang Huang remembered something, and looked at Zhongli vigilantly. You just said that Yinglong also mentioned an additional condition, what is it? The other party is really going to slaughter Shanxi. If you want an incense stick, there are additional conditions. The snake has turned into a dragon, but it is still very greedy. Zhongli replied. Yinglong wants a plaque for you from the immortal elder. Title plaque. Chang Huang's hanging heart suddenly let go. What should he do? Isn't just an inscription on the plaque, this little meaning. It's done easily. In addition, Chengwang still has a trace of complacency in his heart. The inscribed plaque of the 5th factory shows that he still respects himself as a righteous god. Dragons have gods in their eyes. Not bad. I am relieved. However, Zhongli's next sentence directly let the city god break the merits. Yinglong wants the immortal to write a plaque for a female zombie, and write more good things on it. What? A plaque for zombies? The city god was suddenly shaken, and all the ghosts and gods were also stunned. At a loss, let the first-rank judicial god, who is a majestic priest, write a plaque for a nondescript zombie. This is really a toad does not bite, purely disgusting people, right? Asshole, angry god. The city god reacted, blowing his beard and staring. There is no wind in the robes all over the body, and it is automatic, hunting. Yipan Junction is majestic. Even if it is hidden, it makes everyone feel hard to breathe. The immortal chief calmed down. His subordinates were very angry when they heard it that day. They got angry with Yinglong on the spot and refused sternly. What is the identity of the immortal elder? How can he inscribe a plaque for a zombie? It is simply unreasonable. When Zhongli said this, he was even more angry than Chengwang. Then what's Yinglong's reaction? You must have this additional condition. Chang Huang asked. Yinglong said that the plaque for the zombie depends entirely on your will. the city god, and you don't force it, but he said that you are highly respected and have a heart for the people, so you shouldn't be unanimous. HMPH, what kind of flattery is that? Zombies are not ordinary people. It is a freak that cannot be tolerated in the world. At this time, Zhongli's middle and index fingers joined together, and a beam of light was shot towards the sky above the hall. The light beam is blurred, and finally manifests a picture of a movie version. Immortal Chief, please look at my colleagues. The woman inside is the predecessor of the zombie. It's a lot of bad luck. A daughter of a wealthy family. Since childhood, she has been educated and courteous, and has a beautiful appearance. She is a well-known local Magiaoe. She is kind-hearted, happy to be kind. D-bad, she fuse is also profound. But what happened later was very different, like falling into hell. Can't help but let people sigh. I haven't done anything sinister in my life, why does this world treat me like this? With the words of the woman who committed suicide by throwing herself into the river. In the end, he turned into a ghost and turned into a zombie. All the ghosts and gods in the main hall looked down the screen without any disturbance, and there was no reaction on their faces. These ghosts and gods have seen too much of this kind of suffering in the world. Miserable is a bit miserable, but so what? Individuals have their own destiny. What does Judge Zhang mean? Zhongli said. Yinglong asked his subordinates to show it to the elder. He said that the zombie woman's experience was too miserable. It shouldn't be like this. Everyone wants to help, unless it's an evil person. Cough, what my subordinate said just now are the original words of Yinglong. City God glared angrily, then blew his beard and stared again. What do you mean? He, a righteous god, didn't write plaques for zombies but became evil. Damn Yinglong, falling in love more and more. How could he be led by the nose? Don't even think about inscribing a plaque for zombies. Let's discuss this matter later. The city god didn't reject it outright. Anyway, it will take some time to make the incense stick for Yinglong. Zhongli started sweating secretly when he heard the words. He had made a mistake. The master's original words were that the inscribed plaque of the city god must be obtained. But he adopted a soft policy. It seems a bit self-defeating. Immortal Elder, Yinglong wants to help the zombie woman achieve a positive result. This is also a good thing to accumulate virtue and do good deeds. Can you think about it? HMPH, helping zombies to achieve positive results is a big joke in the world, and it's not enough to rely on the god's inscription alone, it's just whimsical. City God smiled coldly, very disdainful. He didn't want to waste his time on this matter. Then he looked at Zhongli, his face straightened, and said, "Punish the evil judge." Zhongli stepped forward to accept the order. Zhongli was startled, hurriedly straightened his appearance, and knelt down again with a dignified face. Zhongli Tin Feng. The city god cleared his throat, and solemnly said, "The third-rank judge Zhongli, who is an honest official, has worked tirelessly and achieved outstanding achievements. He is specially appointed as the second-rank inspector general to help the god to jointly manage the gods." As soon as the words fell, a ray of holy light actually shrouded Zhongli's body. The brand new official uniform and official hat are manifested, majestic and extraordinary. Official Wei Hehe. Xie Shancheng is promoted. Zhongli is grateful to Dade, and will devote himself to death in the future. Promotion is actually nothing more than a matter of course. The city god said lightly, "I will report to His Majesty now, and there will be an imperial decree later." The second-rank Inspector General of Gongxian Division has a high position and authority, and the canonization of the city god alone is not authoritative enough. The canonization decree of the current emperor is also needed. That's justified. Immediately, the city god disappeared into the hall. Zhongli stood up, with his head held high, exuding the majesty of a superior. The other three judges in the hall, the chief officers of the 24 divisions and the generals of the 12 ghosts and gods immediately knelt down towards Zhongli. They shouted in unison, "Greetings to Chief Inspector Zhang, the subordinates will follow the instructions of the Chief Inspector." Zhongli was full of spirits, he thought he was subdued by his master. But a puppet, a lost dog. Unexpectedly, he has reached the pinnacle of his life. Became the chief inspector of the second rank, and became the second authority figure of Gongxian Division. As long as the city god is not around, Gongshansi is the one who has the final say. He hugged his master Yinglong's thigh. There is still a bright future waiting for me in the future. Wolongtan. After Zhongli was promoted to the second rank and left. Through these 2 months of cultivation, Lin Mu's self-cultivation has also increased by nearly 20,000 years. Now he has 160,000 years of Taoism. The strength is getting better and better. At this time, a master of Jiaolong came out to report, "Your Majesty, someone who kills demons came to give gifts, will you allow it?" Lin Mu came out of the pool, and his eyes lit up. Wei Yan finally delivered his apology gift. "I hope this time this gift, don't play tricks on yourself." The court's gift was to give Tianxing Mountain to Lin Shu. Giving it is equal to giving it away. Lin Mu suffered a dumb loss, and this time he will be false again. He's going to freak out. Let someone come up. After a while, a third-rank mirror envoy wearing a flying fish suit and a goldfish bag on his waist stood on the bank of Wolongtan. Respectfully, there was no trace of arrogance on his face. He half bowed his head and glanced at Tan Zongzong's position. Invisibly, there was a dragon's power that seemed to pervade. You can't help but feel that it is disrespectful for you to stand at this moment. He clasped his fists, and said loudly, "The third grade of the demon-slaying master mirror Xuanyuan and met Yinglong Tian Zushenren." Quietly, there was no sound from the center of the pool to respond to him. Xuanyuan Shui seemed to know that this was the other party's intention to show him off. Shaking his teeth, he said loudly again, "Xuanyuan Shui, under the order of the First Lord, sent a special gift to apologize, please accept it from Tianjutian." The sound stirred every corner around Wolongtan. Then, there was still no movement from the center of the pool. On the contrary, in the dense forest around, all kinds of fierce dragons emerged. They all stared at Xuanyuan Shui with fierce eyes. At the beginning, when Wei Yan issued a first-level arrest warrant, the demon slayer led a large group of troops to besiege Wolongtan. Killed many dragons. This matter is not completely over. Xuanyuan Shui was among them that day. When enemies meet each other, they are extremely jealous. Now the dragons can't wait to cut up Xuanyuan's blood and eat it. Xuanyuan's blood was dripping with cold sweat, and a large number of flood dragons stared at him. Put a lot of pressure on him. And the pressure is deadly. If it weren't for his third-rank realm, copper skin and iron bones, strong vitality and blood. For an ordinary person, I'm afraid he would have bled to death from 7 holes. Bold child of the human race, see my king Yinglong, dare to stand up and talk, do you want to die? Kneeling, kneeling, kneeling. A large number of voices came rolling in with a fierce air. Xuanyuan Shui was not hypocritical. Seeing this situation, he directly knelt on one knee. A man can bend and stretch, and if he dares to come to Wolongtan, he knows that there will be no good fruit to eat. Besides, the one kneeling is Yinglong with 5 claws, so there is nothing to be ashamed of. However, following this kneeling, a cold voice came from the center of the pool. "It's he Zhongli, take it out, if the gift is not heavy enough, you can use your own small body to make up for it." Xuanyuan Shui heard the threatening voice outside the words, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and replied, "This item has consumed a lot of manpower, material and financial resources of the demon slayer, and it took more than 2 months to craft it carefully. It will definitely make Master Tianju satisfied. Show it out." Xuanyuan Shui escaped a Chenkin bag from his arms, and flung it into the air. Suddenly, the light shines brightly. A small but exquisite treasure is suspended in the midair of Wolongtan brilliantly. Dazzling. Pagoda. Lin Mu in the middle of the pool took a look and frowned slightly. The treasures are slender and stacked one upon another. Master Wei Tianju, it is the Dragon Palace, a dragon palace that can be completely manifested at will. Xuanyuan's bloody language is not surprising and endlessly dead. As soon as these words came out, not only Lin Mu was surprised, but also the group of flood dragons in the surrounding dense forests were shocked. Dragon Palace. That's right, their great king, Lord Yinglong, looked down on the world, but he didn't have a palace that really belonged to him. Demon Slayer is a big hand. He actually carefully crafted a dragon palace treasure and sent it over. Wei Yan can also be described as scheming. Knowing that the dragon Lin Mu has risen too fast, he has not had time to prepare for anything. The majestic overlord of the dragon doesn't even have his own palace. Isn't it a joke? Disrespectful. Therefore, he painstakingly built a dragon palace field. As soon as this gift is given, it can be said that it has been sent to the apex of Lin Mu's heart. Lin Mu's candle-like dragon eyes stared at the mini-dragon palace floating in midair. Even though it has not really manifested its true face. Even if it has not yet shown its majestic posture. But the brilliant brilliance that emanates is enough to show that this dragon palace is by no means an ordinary building. Lin Mu had to admit that he was moved with compassion. The demon slayer, Wei Yan, is really powerful. He kills decisively, and when he wants to kill you, he often uses thunderous means. Regardless of the consequences, when he wants to please you, also spares no effort. Full of courage, no expense was spared in manpower, material and financial resources to build a dragon palace that can be as big or small as you want. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Wei Yan paid for it. Lin Mu looked at the mini-dragon palace at this time, just like Monkey King seeing his ruby golden cudgel. Can't hide my love. How could the overlord of the dragon not have his own dragon palace? When Lin Mu became a real dragon with 3 claws, he began to remember his own dragon palace. But what he didn't expect was the dragon palace that he was thinking about. It will be sent by the enemy who once wanted to kill him. Xuanyuanshui said at the right time, Master Tianju, as long as your divine sense is placed on this dragon palace, it will belong to you. I don't know where you plan to locate this dragon palace. Where is it located? Hearing this, Lin Mu suddenly looked at Xuanyuanshui, and asked with a cold light, it seems that Master Wei is not only sending off to the dragon palace, he must also have planned a location for Benlong. Wei Shuzun is full of sincerity. Since he sent it to the dragon palace, he must consider it for Lord Tianju. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of the dragons in the surrounding mountains and forests were confused. Do you need to consider the location of Dragon Palace? Naturally, it fell to the bottom of Wolongtan. Underwater Dragon Palace, Underwater Dragon Palace. What's the controversy? What's more, Wolongtan is the blessed land of water and water for King Yinglong. The base camp of the Snake Clan. There is no other choice. Just tell Wei Yan's words and listen to them. Lin Mu is not as simple-minded as these dragons. Xuanyuanshui knelt on one knee, and then cupped his hands. Wei Shuzun specifically explained that Lord Tianju's dragon palace can only be located in one place, so that you can show your supreme posture of being the overlord of the dragon, roaming all over the world and watching the world with disdain. A look of contempt flashed in Lin Mu's eyes, and he blurted out lightly, do you want to say the top of Tianxing Mountain? Xuanyuan took the test, and the mystery was revealed before he could say it. Can't help but look a little embarrassed. But he concealed his embarrassment, and said in a sonorous and forceful voice, Master Tianju is wise, yes, it is the top of Tianxing Mountain. Only when the Dragon Palace is located on the top of the mountain can you overlook the world and surpass everything. Your respected identity. Isn't this dragon's Dragon Palace also surpassing your Daming Palace at the same time? You must know that Tianxing Mountain and Kyoto are only separated by a suburb. People in Kyoto, as long as they stand on a high place, they can see Tianxing Mountain when they look up. According to the orientation, Tianxing Mountain is at the top and Kyoto is at the bottom. If the Dragon Palace stands on the top of Tianxing Mountain, then the Daming Palace was crushed under him, the emperor who lived in the Forbidden City Palace. It can only look up to the Dragon Palace like a mortal looks up to the gods. Lin Mu laughed. Your Wei Shuzun seems to have a disobedient heart. Could it be that he wants to abandon Daming and seek refuge with Benlong? Hearing the words, Xuanyuanshui suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, profusely sweating. His whole body trembled. He is the third-rank mirror envoy of the Monster Slayer division, and he is Wei Yan's confidant. Naturally, he knew that this was just Wei Shuzun's vertical and horizontal plan. Wei Shuzun asked the Imperial court to give Tianxing Mountain to Yinglong as a practice place, because it intensified the conflict between Yinglong and the whole mountain demon. So that this dragon can kill demons and demons for the court. However, Yinglong did not seem to be fooled. On the contrary, Tianxing Mountain became more and more calm. This is not the situation Wei Yan wants to see. Therefore, he has to push again. The Dragon Palace sent out seems to be an apology gift, but it hides a mystery. According to Wei Yan's arrangement, Ruo Yinglong placed the Dragon Palace on the top of Tianxing Mountain. It is tantamount to confirming that Tianxing Mountain is privately owned by Yinglong. Yinglong also became the master of the ghosts and ghosts in the Tianxing Mountains. So how can ghosts tolerate it? The peace of Tianxing Mountain will naturally be broken. Unless those demons and ghosts are willing to serve the dragon as their master. Otherwise, there is only resistance, and it can only be at odds with Yinglong. This is a dead move. There is no other way to solve it. Xuanyuanshui knew very well that the Dragon Palace that Chief Wei spared no expense in manpower, material and financial resources came out, not really to please Yinglong, but to kill with a knife. You must know that the purpose of killing demons is to detect evil spirits, kill demons and eliminate demons. Due to the appearance of the guardian spirit guards, the ghosts of Tianxing Mountain must be subdued. The purpose of one division and one guard of the Ming court is completely opposite. Then you can only compete secretly to see who is right. It is not uncommon for Wei Yan to kill people with swords, but a wise man must make mistakes. He ignored that if the Dragon Palace stands on the top of Tianxing Mountain, it not only means that Yinglong has become the master of Tianxing Mountain. It even pressed the Daming Palace on him. If the people of the world only know the Dragon Palace in the future, they don't know the Imperial Palace. Then Daming's energy is exhausted. Therefore, Lin Mu's light-hearted statement that Wei Yan has a heart of disobedience is by no means a joke. It can even drive Wei Yan into a place of eternal doom. That's why Xuanyuan Shui trembled when he heard the words. Master Tianju dare not talk nonsense. Master Wei is loyal to the Ming dynasty. The world can learn from the sun and the moon. Let the Dragon Palace, which is supposed to be a dragon, be superior to the Imperial Palace. Your Wei Shuzhen's loyalty. I hope your Ming Emperor can see clearly, haha. This, Xuanyuan Shui's heart suddenly became chaotic, with no rhythm at all. Lin Mu in the middle of the pool seemed to be laughing, but in fact, there was a hint of evil in Long Tong. Secretly said, Wei Yan, old boy, if you come here to be shady, don't blame Benlong for cheating you too. Lin Mu has to admit that his Dragon Palace can only be located on the top of Tianxing Mountain. Only in that position, Tuan saw his identity as the dragon's purpose. Wei Yan is very good at calculation, even if Lin Mu can see his careful thinking. You can only follow suit. Because Wolongtan is only a shallow mountain, the Dragon Palace is located in this location. Too petty. In addition, Wolongtan is no longer suitable for Yinglong to live. In the past, Lin Mu chose this blessed place of water, because there were real dragons in Wolongtan. Longtan, his snake wants to transform into a dragon. It is most suitable to choose Wolongtan. Now Lin Mu has not only transformed into a real dragon, but also promoted to Yinglong. Then the word Wolongtan is fatal. The majestic Yinglong, the overlord of the dragon, can lie in this shallow water. Even without the Dragon Palace in front of him, Lin Mu would have to move. At this time, Lin Mu set his sights on the suspended miniature Dragon Palace again, and powerful spiritual consciousness pervaded it. When the divine consciousness completely enveloped the Dragon Palace, it is tantamount to recognizing the Lord. It is equivalent to Sun Wukong's hand holding the golden cudgel. A feeling of blood connection arises spontaneously. Give me big. Boom. I saw that the mini Dragon Palace seemed to be awakened, its aura was fully opened, and it exploded suddenly. It directly became the size of a small house, dazzling, so dazzling. Give me bigger. Boom. Dragon Palace turned into a tall building Daxia. The whole body is radiant and colorful, beautiful and magnificent, and the crystal clear architectural art is fascinating. Continue to grow. Boom. The Dragon Palace is like a pyramid, showing its unique domineering aura, which has skyrocketed to such a size. It also completely exposed what he should have been. The red brick wall, green tile back, resplendent, covered with layers of gold bricks and jade tiles, enclosing the golden mill. The entire Dragon Palace is extravagant, and it seems to be natural. This is arguably the nicest house in the world. Lin Mu looked at the radiant Dragon Palace, his candle-like pupils were shining, and he kept shouting, because. Dragon Palace is also endless, skyrocketing. The light is so bright that it is extremely dazzling. Look, what kind of treasure is that, so dazzling? The mountain monsters in Tianxing Mountain all looked up with horrified eyes, and their eyes couldn't help being blurred. Can't help but indulge in it. With the continuous skyrocketing of the Dragon Palace, it is no longer difficult to hide its posture. Even the people in the suburbs below the mountain began to look up one after another. Take a look and you will be amazed. Niang, it's the Dragon Palace, Lord Tianju's Dragon Palace. Under the blue sky, the Dragon Palace, shining with golden yellow and moist light, looks extraordinarily brilliant. Even the blind man can feel a scorching holy power surging. Look, everyone, Lord Tianju's Dragon Palace has manifested, it's too magnificent and beautiful. Countless people raised their heads and looked at the ever-growing Dragon Palace in admiration. The overall structure of Dragon Palace is also clear to everyone. Layers of gold bricks and jade tiles cover the whole body, a dragon's head sticks out of the eaves, and the dragon's tail goes straight into the hall. The perfect combination of practicality and decoration adds to the imperial spirit of the Dragon Palace. It is beautiful, yet domineering. Although Wei Yan sent Longgong to hide his own little thoughts. But since it was a gift, he didn't bother to cut corners. This is not a splendid building with flow and surface, but a magic weapon that contains energy. Unconsciously, the Dragon Palace has become 1,000,000 feet high, standing between the sky and the earth. Captivating, radiant and unsurpassed. The brilliance blinds the eyes of the world. The people in the suburbs began to worship the Dragon Palace crazily. Seeing the Dragon Palace is like meeting Master Yinglong Tianju. The common people far away in the capital were also alarmed, and the Dragon Palace manifested 1,000,000 meters later. No one can sit still. Looking up, eyes blurred. The color of worship is beyond words. Some people couldn't help sighing from the bottom of their hearts. Only such a Dragon Palace can be worthy of our Lord Tianju. Demon Slayer Headquarters. Wei Yan stood outside the 24th floor, accompanied by Amy. His eyes flickered, admiring the artwork he created. That's right, this is a magic weapon of a work of art. Yinglong's Dragon Palace is what he wants to close. With such a big handwriting, who can compare with it? Wei Yan believes that even if Yinglong has 1,000 dissatisfaction with him, 10,000 murderous intentions. In front of this Dragon Palace, there will be nothing left. He. Wei Shuzun is Wei Shuzun, and he will become a blockbuster as soon as he makes a move. The people in the capital are worshipping the Dragon Palace that manifests in front of them, and they are clearly worshipping you. The flattery of the beautiful fox is like a spring breeze. The smile on Wei Yan's face deepened. Just kidding, in order to build this extraordinary Dragon Palace, he may not be able to afford the money for killing demons for a few years. He not only wants Yinglong to be grateful to him, but also wants Yinglong to kill demons for him. Down, how about some blood? Inside the palace, the Imperial study room. City God is presenting a table with Mingzan Emperor. Gongxianxi has a second-rank Inspector General, and the Emperor needs to issue a yellow book, which can be canonized by decree. After finishing business, Emperor Mingzan was chatting with Lord Chengwang. However, a eunuch on duty broke in shock and knelt down. Your Majesty, there is a Dragon Palace manifesting in Tianxing Mountain, which has attracted thousands of people to worship. Ming Xuanwang was slightly surprised, obviously also a little surprised. Master Immortal, follow me out to have a look, it would be a pity not to see the Dragon Palace of Tianju. City God nodded. When Ming Xuanwang and the City God walked out of the Imperial study, they were covered by a blinding brilliance. Like the sun shrouded, when the City God saw the magnificent Dragon Palace standing between the sky and the earth with a size of 1,000,000 feet, he immediately gave Dinghu an empowerment. What a Wei Yan, he actually gave Yinglong a Dragon Palace, he is really willing to part with it. Ming Xuanwang heard the words, his eyes flickered and said, is this Dragon Palace a gift from Master Wei? The City God was surprised when he heard the words, Your Majesty doesn't know. Ming Xuanwang shook his head, and there was no dissatisfaction on his face. At the beginning of the dream talk, in order for Yinglong to make an oath of non-aggression, the Imperial Court, the Demon Slayer, and the Immortal Priest all gave Yinglong an apology. Wei Yan and Chengwang reported this matter to Ming Xuanwang together. However, Wei Yan did not tell Ming Xuanwang what kind of apology gift the Demon Slayer would give. Because at that time, Wei Yuan didn't think clearly about anything. In addition, he didn't need to report the facts to Ming Xuanwang. Wei Yang has full authority to deal with the Demon Slayer. Sending something out, such a trivial matter, naturally does not need to be reported. Emperor Mingzan would not be dissatisfied by this. What surprised Ming Xuanwang was that Wei Yan would actually send out a magnificent dragon palace. This is spending his money, so I don't feel bad at all. At this moment, Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty looked at the manifested dragon palace, making his imperial palace in the Forbidden City feel overshadowed. I can't help but have mixed feelings in my heart. What is the gift of apology that the immortal master gave Yinglong? You might as well tell me about it. It also made him mentally prepared. Regardless of what the demon-killing division or the immortal division gave, it was all money from the Ming dynasty. It's just an incense stick, it's nothing compared to the dragon palace sent by Master Wei. City God said it lightly. What I said was a bit unkind. Insinuating Wei Yan's prodigal family. Emperor Ming Zan heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the words, and was relieved. The landlord's family has no surplus food. Besides, this Yinglong is not yet a divine beast of daming. No need to empty your wallet. Your Majesty, where do you think the dragon palace will manifest? Chengwang asked quietly, but his gaze was already on the towering peak of Tianqing Mountain. It is impossible for the dragon palace to be manifested in such a big way that it is located in Wolongtan. Otherwise it's a joke. What's more, how can the small and shallow water of Wolong Lake accommodate the huge dragon palace of hundreds of feet? Ming Xuanwang also looked towards the top of the mountain for the first time, his pupils constricted. His face suddenly darkened. On the side of the couch, how can you allow others to snore and sleep? How can a dragon palace be pressed above the head of a majestic emperor? Don't look at Tianqing Mountain as the headquarters of demons and ghosts, but since the founding of the Ming dynasty. On the top of Tianqing Mountain, no monster dared to build his own palace on it. Don't worry, Your Majesty, Master Wei dared to send the dragon palace out, so it's impossible not to miss it. He must have felt that the dragon palace couldn't fall into that place. After all, those ghost bosses in Tianqing Mountain are not vegetarians. Emperor Xuanwang of Ming dynasty suddenly smiled with a twitch of his mouth. The immortal master underestimated me too much. It doesn't matter if the dragon palace stands on the top of Tianqing Mountain. There is a majestic 5-clawed dragon guarding the gate of Ming dynasty for me. Not better. The city god was stunned for a moment, and immediately came to his senses, bowing his hands in admiration. Your Majesty is far-sighted, has a long-term vision, and I can't match you. Come here, hold a banquet. I want to see if Yinglong's dragon official can fall to the top of Tianqing Mountain. Let Lord Xuanwei enter the palace. This is a play directed by him. Let's enjoy it with me, and call the prince to accompany King Qi. Following Ming Xuanwang's words, the palace maids of Supervisor H got busy. The city god looked at Emperor Ming Zan respectfully. Only such an arrogant, wise and mighty emperor was worthy of his assistance as a first-rank justice god. The prosperity of the Ming dynasty can only flourish. With the manifestation of the hundreds of feet of Dragon Palace, the undercurrent of Tianqing Mountain surged. The forces of all parties began to be impatient. Especially when Dragon Palace's majestic ascent seems to be going towards a certain destination. Tianqing Mountain suddenly erupted several majestic and frightening demonic auras. The evil spirit is like a series of dark tornadoes, soaring into the sky. At the same time, several horrifying ghostly auras surged out, and bursts of howling ghosts and wolves rushed over. The evil spirit and the ghost spirit appeared at the same time, intertwined with each other. A dense cloud of magic began to gather from all directions, and the clear sky gradually became dark. The light disappeared bit by bit. The roaring sound of ghosts resounded throughout the world of Tianqing Mountain. It seems to be issuing some kind of warning. Warn that Dragon Palace not to move the factory rashly. Since the birth of Yinglong with 5 claws, King Chengqing has fallen, and King Peacock has retreated. The demons and ghosts of Tianqing Mountain are very aware of current affairs. This is the first time that he openly stood up and shouted at Yinglong. The majestic and magnificent Dragon Palace is located there. In the final analysis, it is related to the fate of the entire Tianqing Mountain ghosts. The demonic cloud formed by evil spirits and ghost spirits covered the sky of the Dragon Palace in a frightening way. It also seems to be expressing that you, Yinglong, have the final say on the Tianqing Mountains. However, roar, a majestic dragon chant sounded from the middle of the crouching dragon pool. Majestic, sweeping everything. The demonic clouds that covered the sky and the sun disappeared in an instant with the sound of the dragon's chant. At this moment, in all directions, in the sky and on the ground, it suddenly seemed to be the beginning of chaos. Only the Dragon Palace, which is constantly rising and shining with dazzling brilliance, is like the only light when the universe was born. It is illuminating the Tianqing Mountains and the world. Boom boom boom. A large amount of demon energy in the Tianqing Mountain demon spirit world boiled up, and a thick voice began to come out. We have no intention of becoming an enemy of Mr. Yinglong. In order to live in harmony, please invite this Dragon Palace to sink into Wolong Lake. 047. Afterwards, all the mountains, there were gifts to make amends. This voice fell slightly, and another erratic ghost voice sounded. Hidden Immortal Valley expresses its position on behalf of the ghost cultivators. Please answer the Dragon Lord's Dragon Palace to sink. Afterwards, the voices of countless ghosts gathered together. Make a deafening, rolling roar. Master Yinglong, please sink the Dragon Palace. The ghosts of Tianqing Mountain seem to be united suddenly because of a Dragon Palace. Still the same sentence, everyone will respect Yinglong. But if Yinglong wants to be the master of hiking that day, then, it is forcing the people to rebel. We do not agree. They are going to force Yinglong to change his mind now, otherwise they will be against the ghosts of the whole mountain. The location on the top of Tianqing Mountain is sensitive. No ghost has ever dared to build its own palace on it. One is that he is afraid of offending the Ming court, and the other is that he doesn't have the confidence. Only the real owner of Tianqing Mountain, Tuan, has that right. But in fact, Tianqing Mountain is a place outside the law. No master is needed at all. The place where ghosts and demons from all over the world gather, and only one person can be the only one. The sound of the Dragon Palace sinking gradually spread throughout Tianqing Mountain. And even the entire suburb. Even the whole of Kyoto. The people were shocked when they heard the sound. The demons and ghosts of Tianqing Mountain united to invite Yinglong's Dragon Palace to sink. What a guts! Who said that the Dragon Palace can only be in the water? Living in one side, the human emperor has issued an imperial decree long ago, granting Tianqing Mountain to Master Yinglong as a practice place. Where should Yinglong's Dragon Palace be located? The people became indignant. However, the voices of these people are the most insignificant. Things have come to this point, it seems to have entered a dead end. If Yinglong's Dragon Palace sinks at this time, it will be a boogeyman. The supreme prestige of the Dragon Overlord was ruined. If it continues to rise, it will be against the ghosts of the entire Tianqing Mountain. What will Yinglong do? The whole people began to pay attention to the movement of Tianqing Mountain. A Dragon Palace affects the hearts of people all over the world. Inside the palace, Emperor Zan of the Ming Dynasty held a banquet outside the palace and was sitting at the head of the banquet. The direction of the gaze is the location of Tianqing Mountain. The first seats on the left and right sides below are Chief Wei of the Monster Slayer Division and Chengwang Lord of the Immortal Division. In the second seat, Xiao Jingshou, the Crown Prince of the Eastern Palace, and Xiao Che, the Qiju Qiwang, sat. According to their status, the first seat under the Emperor should be the Prince of the Eastern Palace and King Qi. However, Wei Yan and City God had a detached position in the Ming Dynasty. Although Wei Yan has always been a human race, he has been in charge of killing monsters for countless dynasties. It is itself a supreme beast. It is no exaggeration to say that Wei Yan is the patron saint of the Ming Dynasty. Without Wei Yan in charge of killing demons, how could the world's demons live in Tianqing Mountain? To put it bluntly, the emperors of the Ming Dynasty can be changed frequently, but the head of the demon slayer can only be Wei Yan. Because only he has the weight to suppress the world's demons. It's just that Wei Yan hasn't really made a move for so long that everyone has almost forgotten how terrible he is. As for the city god who offered Shanxi, naturally there is no need to say more. The first-rank righteous god of justice, in charge of the underworld, is the real god of the Yang world. Such a seat arrangement, whether it is the Prince of Dongying or the official king. I didn't feel that there was anything wrong. They want to overwhelm Wei Yan and Chengwang, only to become the emperor of the Ming Dynasty in the future. But even if you become the emperor of the Ming Dynasty, you still have to treat the two with respect. Courtesy 3 points. The banquet has been opened, and the people from all parties are seated. No one touched the delicious food and wine at the banquet, and everyone's eyes were locked on Tianqing Mountain. It's like watching the Spring Festival Gala together, engrossed. When Wei Yan heard the voice from Tianxing Mountain, "Please sink the Dragon Palace," the smile on his face deepened a little. The effect he wanted was finally achieved. Once the Dragon Palace is sent out, Yinglong will refuse it outright. Otherwise, such a situation would become inevitable. Next, it depends on how many monsters Yinglong will clean up for the court. Strategizing and winning thousands of miles away, the familiar feeling is back. Wei Yan seems to have forgotten the experience of facing Yinglong and repeated defeats. Whenever he feels that he can easily kill the other party, reality always gave him a resounding slap. Is everything really as Wei Yan calculated this time? King Qi glanced at Wei Yan and sneered secretly. You sent a dragon palace, can you really create a situation where demons and ghosts are opposed to Yinglong? Take it for granted. Among them, he has made great contributions to protecting the spirit guard. Ever since Yinglong made a move, Xiaoqish has worked hard on Tianxing Mountain. Secretly fueled the flames. In the end, spread the rumor that Yinglong wanted to be the master of the mountain hike that day. Regardless of demons and ghosts, they must submit to the dragon's majesty. Otherwise it is death. In the past 2 months, rumors of such remarks have been flying all over Tianxing Mountain. After hearing so much, I have to believe it. Wei Yan wants Yinglong to slay demons for the court. But Xiaoqish wanted to take revenge, but at the same time, he also wanted to make a profit. As long as the demons of Tianxing Mountain and Yinglong confront each other, it will definitely be an epic battle. Whoever wins or loses is profitable for him. Yinglong wins, so the sister ghost can only scatter and run away. Where can heaven and earth escape? The guardian spirit became the best choice for ghosts. If the demons and ghosts team up to win, he will avenge his revenge. This trick is not without end. It is from the Peacock King. This time, rumors come first, and dragons follow. The demons and ghosts of Tianxing Mountain can only unite and rise up to resist. Yinglong is strong. After all, there is only one. How can he suppress the demons of the mountains? Xiao Jingshou, the crown prince of the Eastern Palace, was waving a jade fan indifferently at this moment and just glanced at Tianxing Mountain. He took his gaze back. Doesn't seem very interested. The food and wine on the seats didn't move, and they started to be in a daze. Ming Xuanwang noticed this, and said in a deep voice, "The prince is absent-minded, so he doesn't care about the situation in Tianxing Mountain at all. You must know that whether it is the 5-clawed dragon or the ghost of Tianxing Mountain, it is related to the vitality of the Ming dynasty." Xiao Jingshou hurriedly stood up, and replied, "I don't dare, the big and small things in the world, my ministers are all concerned about the 5 things, but Tianxing Mountain is just a farce, the dragon palace of the dragon overlord is located there, I'm afraid it's not the demon world can stop. His Royal Highness is knowledgeable and quick-witted. You think ghosts can't stop you? Then can you tell me whether Yinglong's dragon palace ended up in the shallow Wolong Lake, or on the top of the sky-high Tianxing Mountain?" City God looked at Xiao Jingshou with a smile. He has always known that the prince is keeping a low profile. Why don't you take the initiative to ask? The prince will not take the initiative to open his mouth. This is completely different from King Qi. Xiaoqish acted in a high-profile way, and he talked about his fate as a Qianlong when he had nothing to do. All I have to do is tell the people in the world that I will be the emperor of Ming dynasty in the future. Xiao Jingshou bowed slightly to the city god to show respect, and then said, "In my humble opinion, I think that Yinglong's dragon palace will never sink into Wolong Lake, nor will it stand on the top of Tianxing Mountain." Oh, city god was slightly surprised. Ming Xuanwang also showed interest when he heard the words. Wei Yan became thoughtful when he heard this. He knew that the prince could say this because he was scheming. Never alarmist. Is he being biased? Qi Wang Xiaoqish, who was opposite the crown prince, twitched his mouth in secret, secretly disdainful. There is almost no dispute about where Yinglong's dragon palace is located. In order to show the identity of the overlord of the dragon, where else can it be except the top of Tianxing Mountain? Could it be that it is still located in your crown prince's east palace? However, on the bright side, Xiaoqish sincerely showed an attitude of being a good student who listens attentively and studies well. 4 eyes with deep meaning fell on the prince. Xiao Jingshou was not ready to talk about her views endlessly. He just looked up at the sky, pointed to the sky and said, "I just thought that Yinglong's dragon palace would hang above the white clouds and 9 heavens. Above the white cloud 9 days. This remark breaks the old and brings forth the new at the same time. It is also earth-shattering. Whether it was Ming Xuanwang, Wei Yan or Chengwang, they all fell into deep thought immediately. After contemplating for a few breaths, each and everyone's eyes flickered brightly. Because the idea put forward by the prince is not only reasonable, but also far-reaching and high-level. Who said that the dragon palace with 5 claws should only stand on Tianqing Mountain? The so-called overlord of the dragon is above all things, above the 9 heavens. His dragon palace can completely hang in the sky. The dragon palace is like a heavenly palace, looking down on the common people. It is even more unique, extraordinary and holy. The prince may have been on the fringes. It can even be said to be an outsider. It might be clearer for him to think about things. Above the white cloud 9 days, the pattern opens directly. Surprised, the corners of Wei Yan's mouth began to twitch. If Yinglong really did that, all his calculations would be like a joke. But what is even more deadly is that Yinglong's dragon palace is like a heavenly palace floating in 9 heavens. Then it's not just about pressing down on the Forbidden City, it's not just about becoming the master of Tianqing Mountain. It's hard to be ambitious and want to be the master of the whole world. Ming Xuanwang's face gradually became gloomy, and the dragon palace stood on the top of Tianqing Mountain. He can completely act as Yinglong to guard the country for Daming. But hanging in the sky, that is another concept. Those present here are not only the highest power holders of Ming Dynasty, but also all of them are extremely intelligent people. There are 800 eyes hidden in my heart. The simple words of the prince caused countless thoughts to arise in their minds. Before they started discussing from the prince's point of view, more news from Tianqing Mountain came out. The demons and ghosts jointly shouted, asking the dragon palace to sink. But the magnificent dragon palace is still rising. This represents Yinglong's attitude. How can the majestic overlord of the dragon give people a threat? At this time, a terrifying figure burst out from the demon spirit world, and shot straight into the sky. There are clusters of monster chi like wolf smoke, washing away from it, pouring into the sky, covering the sky and blocking the sun, thick but not dispersed. As the terrifying figure reached a certain height, there was a roar that shook the world. A gigantic ape hundreds of feet in size manifested. Holding a black iron club in his hand, his face was full of ferocity, and his whole body was full of terrifying fighting intent. Roar! The giant ape let out an earth-shattering roar towards the rising dragon palace. The space along the way was thrown into chaos by the roaring sound. The countless monsters and small beasts in Tianqing Mountain could not bear such a terrifying sound wave. It actually exploded in place, even though the foot of the mountain is far away. But the people in the suburbs were all holding their heads in pain, and the ground of the village began to crack in a large area. Inside the palace, Wei Yan broke free from the prince's words, stared at the giant ape high in Tianqing Mountain, and said in a deep voice, "It's the Ape Stone King, one of the 4 former Deep Mountain Demon Kings. Why do you say once, now, because of the fall of the Evergreen King? The Peacock King took refuge in the court. Only the mysterious Little Rabbit King and Ape Stone King are left in Tianqing Mountain. King Yuanshi has 180,000 years of Taoism. Natural stone monkeys have endless causes. Proper militant. Its appearance was obviously to stop Dragon Palace. Even manifesting the original body as soon as he appeared, he was ready to fight Yinglong. Its courage is commendable. On the contrary, Emperor Mingzan's eyes lit up, staring at the giant ape hundreds of meters tall. He praised, "This stone monkey's roar shook the sky, and its skills are so profound that Yinglong's dragon palace may have to stop here. If the prince's words come true, then this person's attitude will change. He couldn't tolerate a dragon palace hanging in the sky of the Ming dynasty. Unless Yinglong is Daming's Yinglong." Therefore, Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty expected that the giant ape could prevent the ascension of the dragon palace. If he really waited for the dragon palace to hang above the 9 heavens, then he would be helpless. Because the Imperial court signed a non-aggression treaty with Yinglong. It is to be followed. City God and Wei Yan looked at each other, and immediately understood the emperor's attitude. Wei Yan was extremely depressed. He seemed to be self-defeating. The dragon palace can never be in the sky as the prince said. It can sink in the sea or stand on the top of a mountain, but it cannot hang in the sky. Yinglong, Yinglong, can you follow the script of the deity? Taking Dragon Palace as a palace envoy, isn't this slapping Tianming in the face? Xiao Qish stared at the giant ape, his heart filled with greed for talents. He, the guardian of the spirit, wants to confer the title of the 8 great King Kongs, and this ape stone king is the boss of the monster clan he wants to fight for. At this time, after roaring, the gigantic ape, hundreds of feet high, raised its hill-like fist, and punched down at the Dragon Palace. With one punch, the sky is dark and the earth is dark. Under the terrifying power, there was a deafening sound of suppression and smashing. A good punch contains more than 1,000 pounds of power, enough to level a mountain. Emperor Mingzan spoke in praise. The majestic emperor of the Ming dynasty, in order to prevent the Dragon Palace from standing in the sky, even shouted for the Demon King. There is no bottom line. In Ming Xuanwang's opinion, if the Dragon Palace is gone, that's the end of it. In addition, it can better stimulate Yinglong. Boom. The giant ape's iron fist hit Dragon Palace without any accident. The world seems to have seen the fragmented picture of this new and magnificent Dragon Palace. However, Dragon Palace only shook a few times, as solid as a diamond. Didn't even get shot down. Standing upright in the air. It's amazing. The defense of this Dragon Palace is too exaggerated. You must know that it was the fist of King Ape Stone. Destructive power can be described as devastating. Dragon Palace survived. Ming Xuanwang was astonished, and suddenly looked at Wei Yan, with a look of resentment on his face. You old bastard, how much money did you spend on daming to create such an amazing defensive dragon set? Wei Yan dodged his eyes, feeling guilty. He originally wanted to please Yinglong, but he needed Yinglong to slay demons for the court. Naturally, we have to spend a lot of money. It looks like a dragon palace, but it is actually a magic weapon. Can it be destroyed so easily? The giant ape failed with one punch, and his face was dull. He roared loudly again. It seems that he didn't expect that Dragon Palace could survive under his own fist. Immediately, it raised its terrifying black iron stick. If the fist doesn't work, it smashes the Dragon Palace to pieces with its big stick. However, a mighty dragon that shakes the heaven and earth below comes like a gust of wind. Immediately afterwards, a majestic and stalwart dragon body soared upwards, and when it manifested for a while, it would be thousands of feet in size. Unrivaled majesty is vividly displayed. A huge dragon's head looked down on the giant ape indifferently, and its candle-like pupils were breathtaking. It seems to be able to wipe out your soul with just one glance. The giant ape holding the black iron club froze all of a sudden. It was shrouded in the unrivaled power of the heavenly dragon, and was stared coldly by the 5-clawed Yinglong. The other party seemed to have no intention of stopping it. But the big stick in the giant ape's hand couldn't hit it anymore. My heart was gradually swallowed by a wave of fear. Roar! The giant ape roared at Yinglong. It was born with a stone monkey and feared nothing. How can we be afraid of a dragon? But the weird thing is, in a blink of an eye, the boundless dragon body has covered and entangled him. Gradually tightening, suffocating despair enveloped. The gigantic ape manifesting hundreds of feet is already very terrifying. But in front of Yinglong, he seems so insignificant. Even caring people know that Yinglong's stalwart has not been fully displayed. These thousands of feet are not the perfect body of Yinglong. Entangling the giant ape, the dragon's head looked down from top to bottom, and the dragon's face covered with a golden face was full of contempt. Just you. The cold words came out lightly. If the world makes up its mind, you are the only one who wants to destroy my dragon palace. Of the 4 demon kings in Tianxing Mountain, only 2 remain. But soon, there will be only 1 left. The giant ape screamed again and again, and the terrifying monster energy gushed out overwhelmingly. It is struggling. If it weren't for being intimidated by the power of Tianlong, it doesn't get trapped easily. Its powerful means have not really begun to be used. Yinglong, let me go if you have the ability, let's have a real fight. King Yuanxi's will to fight was not easily disintegrated. Start clamoring. Yinglong just crushed himself with his huge body, which didn't make him convinced. Following its words, the ever-tightening body of the stalwart dragon actually loosened. Those candle-like dragon eyes are full of playfulness. It's like a cat playing with a mouse. The giant ape regained its freedom, and suddenly backed away from a certain position. Then he held the big black iron stick in both hands. He stared fiercely at the winding dragon body thousands of meters high. This giant ape in the form of King Ape Stone is full of monster energy boiling all over his body. It poured all its strength into the iron rod with its 180,000 years of Taoism. The iron rod looked like it was about to explode. Contains the power to destroy heaven and earth. Quack. Yinglong, look at this monkey smashing you into a meat paste. The giant ape violently smashed towards the winding dragon's body. At this moment, the heavens and the earth began as chaos. The power of the black iron stick is too terrifying. When it is swung past, all the spaces along the way are shattered. A stick also appeared on Yinglong's front paw. To be clear, it is a bamboo with a whole body of purple gold. Without too much bells and whistles, he took advantage of the opportunity to meet the black iron stick. Boom! There was a loud bang. The black iron stick and the purple gold bamboo collided violently. In an instant, the sky trembled and the sky was turned upside down. With one blow, the confident giant ape spat out a mouthful of heavy blood. The whole body retreated suddenly, several tens of feet away. It stared angrily at the black iron stick in its hand, which gradually shattered like glass. On the other hand, the winding dragon's body remained completely motionless, as if it had slapped away a fly with ease. The giant ape stared at the purple gold bamboo on Yinglong's front paw, and there was not even a single bit of damage. Damn it, King Chengqing's natal bamboo. Yinglong, you are awesome, I am convinced by this monkey. The great ape wanted to retreat, and the warlike nature was warlike, but he still had self-knowledge. All his weapons were destroyed, so what else could he use to fight Yinglong? What's more, Yinglong used bamboo to fight just now, but he didn't have any energy. He vomited blood and fell back. However, when the giant ape turned around and was about to leave, the bamboo in Yinglong's front paw smashed towards it. The distance of several tens of feet can be easily smashed. The bamboo turned into an Optimus Prime. The power is endless. Don't let me go. The giant ape stared at the falling Optimus Prime in horror, and couldn't bear it to think. I can only subconsciously block with my arms and the top of my head. Forget it, it punched Longgong, and Yinglong wanted to hit it. It's also fair. But when the Tower Optimus Prime was about to hit the head of the giant ape, a sense of crisis of death involuntarily rose in King Yuanshi's soul. This sense of crisis will not easily appear. No, Yinglong, be merciful. It screamed. It's a pity that everything is too late. .. Optimus Prime fell, and the body of the giant ape burst directly. It turned into countless rolling stones and fell. A gleaming primordial spirit emerged and ran away in panic. Seeing that Yinglong's mouth opened, the fleeing Yuanshan flew towards him uncontrollably. Along the way, the sound of begging for mercy from King Yuanshi kept coming out. Yinglong, I made a mistake, please let me go, your dragon palace can be set up wherever you want, and I. Crack. With the dragon's mouth closed, Tianqing Mountain lost another demon king from the deep mountain. And this scene shocked the whole world. There is no doubt about Yinglong's strength. When he was first promoted, he roared with all his strength in front of the Peacock King. However, he retreated several tens of feet and was unscathed. As the months passed, Yinglong's strength seemed to become even more perverted. Easily killed another deep mountain demon king. In terms of combat effectiveness, the Monkey King is definitely not the opponent of the Little Rabbit King, nor is he the opponent of the Peacock King. But in terms of physical strength, it is proud enough. Born as a stone monkey, it is as firm as a rock. But he was hit by a bamboo by Yinglong and exploded to death. Even Yuan Shendu, who was about to escape, was swallowed in one gulp. Even reincarnation is disqualified. This is the price of provoking Yinglong and fighting against Yinglong. But after swallowing Yinglong, Yuanshan of Yuanshan, the Ape Stone King, his aura became more domineering. He meanders across the sky, holding a bamboo. The candle-like dragon eyes swept across the tops of Tianqing Mountain. His domineering and disdainful posture seems to say, those who don't want to live, just jump out. With the fall of the Yuanshi King, Tianqing Mountain became quiet all of a sudden. The demonic and ghostly aura that had erupted quietly dissipated for a while. As if it never appeared. Inside the palace, Wei Yan was both delighted and surprised. The joy is that his goal has been achieved. Yinglong killed a deep mountain demon king for the demon slayer. Surprisingly, according to this trend, then the Dragon Palace may really hang above the 9 heavens. Renwang obviously didn't like what to do with the face of the Ming dynasty. Xiao Qish was both shocked and terrified. What surprised me was that Yinglong's strength had reached the point of being abnormal. What I'm afraid of is that he and Yinglong are on the wrong track. He also swore that he and Yinglong would not live together and would take revenge. If Optimus Prime, who was transformed into a bamboo just now, smashed towards his spirit guard, I'm afraid that none of the spirit guards can escape. Even the Peacock King can barely protect himself at most. Terrible. A natural stone monkey that has practiced for 180,000 years, you will knock it to death with one shot. Xiao Qish looked towards his father. There was no trace of expression on Ming Xuanwang's face. I don't know what to think. Obviously felt threatened. He immediately had a plan. Father Emperor, Xiao Qish stood up and said, the strength of this Yinglong is enough to shake the foundation of our Ming dynasty. If it does not submit to the Imperial court, then our Imperial court may not continue to allow the other party to become stronger. Ming Xuanwang said lightly, what does King Qi mean? Father, you also saw it just now, this Yinglong knocked to death a deep mountain monster king with a single bamboo stick. Given time, there will be no opponents in the sky and on earth. Wouldn't our Ming dynasty have to look up and breathe? I feel that the Imperial court can't continue to sit idly by, and must use the power of the entire Imperial court to attack Yinglong, unless it can submit to my Ming dynasty. As soon as Xiao Qish said these words, the expressions of several people present became rich. Wei Yan and City God were speechless. This kind of words are all left over from what they said. You said it now, isn't it too late? Eating shit can't keep up with the hot ones. At the beginning, when the other party was still the king of snakes, the two divisions did not kill each other. Now, the other party is so strong that they say such things again. It is the words of subjugation. Wei Yan also stood up, looked at Xiao Qish teasingly and said, didn't King Qi set up the spirit guard to subdue the world's spirits? Why did it go against the purpose of the spirit guard? You should try your best to win over Yinglong. Xiao Qish was suddenly at a loss for words, feeling depressed. Isn't this a failure to win over? There is no other way. If you can't be a friend, you can only be an enemy, and if you are an enemy, you will desperately kill yourself. Congratulations, father, congratulations, father. Prince Xiao Jingshou suddenly stood up to congratulate him. Why do you like it? Ming Xuanwang looked at the prince again. Xiao Jingshou said with a spring breeze, the stronger Yinglong is, the more beneficial it will be for our Ming dynasty. With such a divine beast sitting in Daming, we will not be afraid of foreign provocations and invasions. The territory of the real world does not only exist in Ming dynasty. Outside the frontier domain, there are several powerful countries. What the prince said is reasonable, but Yinglong is not my Ming's Yinglong after all, it is difficult to control, it is a variable. Ming Xuanwang frowned. This is his biggest heart disease. If Yinglong had received the imperial decree, his dragon camp would have stood there. It's all about celebrating. Daming's face is bright. Unfortunately, the other party has reverse scales. Father, Yinglong is my Daming's Yinglong, why isn't it? Xiao Jingshou said solemnly. The other party was born in the land of Daming, grew up in the land of Daming, and my Ming dynasty is connected by blood, how can we divide each other? As long as the opponent doesn't have the intention of causing trouble to Daming, he is a divine beast that everyone in my Ming believes in. Father must not be paranoid, and I, Da Ming, must not have friction with Yinglong again. Born in Daming, grew up in Daming. These words hit Ming Xuanwang's heart at once. Let the shadow clouds in his heart break the sunrise. Cheerful and cheerful, what the prince said is reasonable, and the minister complies with it. Wei Yan and City God stood up to respond. Qian Wangjiao looked at the prince with appreciation. King Qi is an idiot, and he is still self-righteous. Daming's crusade against Yinglong now is to destroy the country. What the prince said is good, but my situation is small. Ming Xuanwang looked at the prince with satisfaction, although his son was not destined to be a Qianlong. But he is open-minded, has the universe in his heart, and has the knowledge of people. It has begun to take on the appearance of an emperor. This is not much stronger than Qianlong's fate. On the other hand, King Qi disappointed Emperor Mingxuan. He kept saying that he wanted to subdue the world's demons and ghosts and use them for the imperial court. The imperial court set up a guardian for it. But on the matter of Yinglong, he failed to win over Yinglong. He held a grudge and wanted the court to punish him. The motive is not pure, it's not good. You are not benevolent. King Qi, from now on, you don't need to take care of the guardian spirit guards. The prince will supervise and control them with full power. Everyone, please listen to the prince's orders. Emperor Xuanwang of the Ming dynasty changed his tone of voice, and he spoke golden words. In a simple sentence, the guardian spirit guard changed hands. Xiaoqish was like a thunderbolt from the blue sky, his whole face was ash and ashes, and he was stunned. He couldn't think of it, he just said a word to attack Yinglong. To offend the emperor so displeased. The spirit guards were taken away from him. Transferred to the prince. Didn't he become a big wrong species? You must know that the guardian of the spirit is the crystallization of all the painstaking efforts of Xiaoqish alone. He persuaded the Peacock King, the Demon King in the deep mountains, to surrender, and he also played against the emperor and ministers in the imperial study. Finally, there was the birth of the Guardian Spirit Guard. Today, although the Guardian Spirit Guard has just been established, it has not completely become formal. But at least it's off to a good start. They say that everything is difficult at the beginning. He did everything. Now the emperor's father said lightly, his spirit guards became the crown princes. From then on, the spirit guards had nothing to do with him. I am afraid that even the Peacock King will take refuge in the prince's sect. He's not a bad guy, who is? Father, my son made a slip of the tongue just now, you can punish him however you want, but the spirit guards are all my heart and soul, I beg father to think twice and give my son another chance. Xiaoqish was completely panicked. He knelt down and begged for mercy. I almost cried. The guardian of the spirit is not only a simple court organization, but also represents whether he can make a comeback against the wind in the future. Now that Emperor Mingxuan took back the Guardian Spirit Guard, it was tantamount to pinching his idea of ascending to heaven. Tell Xiaoqish clearly that he will be a prince honestly in the future. Don't have extra thoughts. You have nothing to do with the throne in your life. Ming Xuanwang just looked at Xiaoqish indifferently, his eyes were no longer doting, but full of disappointment. King Qi, step back, your mind has been set. At this time, the Crown Prince Xiao Jingshou stood up and interceded. I also beg my father to think twice. The guardian of the spirit was established by the 13th brother, and my son is also the prince of the East Palace, and he is also the elder brother. How can I take my brother's heart and blood? Prince, there is no need to say much. From now on, the guardian of the spirit will depend on you. You must remember that the purpose of the guardian of the spirit is to collect, not to kill. Only those with a truly benevolent heart are worthy of control. The purpose of the demon slayer is to kill. One division and one guard are equivalent to the double reeds sung by the imperial court. One sings bad face and the other sings bad face. For the monsters in the world, there are only two paths before them. Either he was punished by the imperial court's monster-killing department, or he was taken in by the spirit guards. Depends on whether you want to die or live. This is the strategy that Ming Xuanwang promised to set up the Guardian Spirit Guard. Xiaoqish is too selfish. He only wants to use the Guardian Spirit Guard as a bargaining chip for his superior position. Therefore, he must not be allowed to continue to control the Spirit Guard. Seeing that her father had made up her mind, Shosho knelt down and said solemnly, my father trusts me, and my son will take good control of the Guardian Spirit Guards and subdue the world's demons. Prince, although you live up to Qianlong's fate, you are my direct prince. You are the crown prince of the East Palace who was conferred by the Ming dynasty. You are the dragon among men, understand? As soon as these words came out, Xiao Jingshou shuddered all over, and her eye sockets couldn't help getting wet. His role as the prince of the Eastern Palace has always been controversial. It's not that he has shallow morals, nor is he lacking in accomplishment, but that there is a Xiaoqish among the princes who has the fate of a hidden dragon. Throughout the ages, the princes with Qianlong fate have always been the best candidates for enthroning as great treasures. Therefore, Xiao Jingshou felt overwhelmed. However, as soon as Ming Xuanwang's words came out, his position as the crown prince of the East Palace was as secure as Mount Tai. On the contrary, Xiaoqish's face was ashen, as if he had fallen into an endless hell. The noble and boundless temperament on his body became pale and dimmed. Wei Yan and City God looked at each other with joy in their eyes. The emperor is wise, only a real dragon among men can understand and know Yinglong, and maybe he will not be able to get Yinglong's support in the future. Xiaoqish had already fallen out with Yinglong. It was not good for the fate of the country for him to be the emperor. This is a small episode when Yinglong Dragon Palace is not yet established. But it is related to the future direction of the Ming dynasty. And the side of Tianxing Mountain. The stalwart and sinuous Yinglong held the purple golden bamboo in his front paws, overlooking the changes in Tianxing Mountain. A pair of dragon eyes sweeps in all directions, showing their disdainful attitude. He just wanted to watch like this, to see if there was anyone else who dared to jump out and make noise. Have it. Time passed by every minute and every second. Some people really can't sit still. The demon spirit realm has sent the Ape Stone King. Although he fell, he made a start. The next step is to look at the methods of Yingxian Valley, the largest ghost cultivation force in Tianxing Mountain. It depends on whether Yingxian Valley dares to touch the reverse scale of the overlord of the dragon. Suddenly, a vague fairy sound appeared. In the name of ghosts and immortals, I will bind all ghosts, condense. As soon as the word Ning fell, the heaven and the earth were full of ghostly energy, and the terror was boundless. It's like the gates of hell have been opened. Countless roars swept across the world. Those howls make people feel as if they are facing an abyss, and the whole body is terrified. At first hearing, they are as miserable as wandering spirits, as sharp as ghosts, and the sound hits the ear. It was so shocking that the hearts of the world could not help but tremble, and it was difficult to calm down. I saw strong ghostly aura rising from every hidden corner of Tianxing Mountain. From then on, endless ghosts quietly appeared in Kyoto and the suburbs. Even in the imperial land of the Ming dynasty, there is a ghostly aura rising. Clouds of ghostly aura, like wolf smoke, emerged from all directions and poured into the sky of Tianxing Mountain, covering the sky and the sun, thick but not dispersed. The scale of ghost energy is terrifying, unprecedented. It's like the end of the world is coming. Not long after, a huge amount of ghost energy condensed into a sinuous and terrifying evil dragon, flying across the sky. Confront with Yinglong, who exudes unrivaled arrogance. Nilong opened his eyes and roared at Yinglong. Only ghosts and wolves were howling in the world. It's like ghosts rule the world. It has a pair of monstrous ghostly eyes. It was a pair of dark green ghost eyes, full of fierceness and blood. Ida. As soon as he was born, he dared to challenge Yinglong. Inadvertently, the script actually developed into a duel between two dragons. What a terrible method, gathering the power of all the ghosts in the world, ghosts. The world trembled in astonishment. Tianxing Mountain, and even the biggest ghost in the Ming dynasty. Many people don't know its origin. But the city god in the palace had a gloomy and ugly face. Others don't know the origin of Gui Xian, the boss of Yingxian Valley, but he knows it best. The other party is a disgrace to Gongshanxi and the biggest stain in the life of the city god. The reason is very simple, that ghost fairy used to be the second-rank inspector general of Gongtong. Bit height wait. Gongshanxi said to the outside world that the former chief inspector died because of an accident. In fact, the opponent's ambitions are monstrous and his methods are cruel. In order to break through to the second grade, he even secretly used evil means to refine the people of a city. Take the blood and soul to improve your own way, thereby promoting a rank. He even tried to seize the position of the righteous god of justice for the city god of Gongshanxi. In the end, obviously, the opponent failed. Finally, he fled to Tianxing Mountain and founded Yinxi. This thing goes back many years. For a long time, Emperor Mingzan was not even born, let alone enthroned. Gongshanxi's former inspector general became the biggest ghost cultivator in the Ming dynasty. City god cannot absolve himself of the blame. It is his heart disease. Nizan, you have been hiding for many years, but you are so powerful that you can command all the ghosts in the world. The city god had to admit that the other party was extremely talented, and he was a great ghost cultivator. Although it has been promoted to the first rank by evil and cruel means. But the surprise of the other party cannot be denied. It's a pity, the other party's heart is too anxious, and he dislikes the incense cultivation too slowly. Anxiously want to become a righteous god of justice immediately. Thus going astray. Yinglong, if you can get rid of this traitor for Gongshanxi, I will honor you as Lord Tianzhu from now on. City god murmured secretly in his heart. Eyes full of hope. As for Tianxing Mountain, the scene of two dragons fighting for hegemony came into being. The evil dragon's ghostly aura was overwhelming, covering the sky and the sun, and charged towards Yinglong roaring. The evil dragon born by gathering the power of all the ghosts in the world has great fighting power. It is no longer tens of thousands of years of Taoism, but decades of Taoism can be summarized. Even Yinglong didn't dare to show contempt easily. Because he is not fighting an evil dragon, but fighting the ghosts of the world. If you win, all the ghosts in the world will go away. Roar! Yinglong also let out a dragon chant, His Majesty boundless. Every dragon scale on the whole body shines like the sun and the moon, flowing with unrivaled majesty. Longmu overlooked the Nilong rushing towards him, extremely fierce. The front paw of purple gold bamboo knocked it away with a slap in the face. Turned into Optimus Prime, vigorously. A terrifying and boundless dragon tail followed closely behind by the dragon wagging its tail. Both hit Nilong hard. The evil dragon screamed in pain, but its dragon body was like an iron bucket. It is obviously the condensed ghost energy, but it is invincible. But in the dark, tens of thousands of ghosts hiding in hidden corners all over the world turned into black causes and dissipated in an instant. No longer exists. Became the biggest backer. On the top of Tianxing Mountain, there is a powerful but petite figure. Looking closely, it turned out to be the big and small rabbit king of the demon spirit world, who was eating carrots and watching the battle between the two dragons with great interest. It appeared on the top of Tianxing Mountain, which also explained its attitude. There it is, straight down. Base. The surrounding space was turbulent, and there were endless rays of light and fairy sounds resounding all over the sky. The little rabbit king squinted and turned a deaf ear to it. When the clouds rose and the clouds rose, a middle-aged man lingering in immortality manifested. The temperament of the whole person has a long history in bottomless. I don't know, it's really a fairy descending. But he is the boss of ghost cultivators in the world, and he was once the biggest trader in the history of Shantong. Ghost Immortal Li Chong. The terrifying Taoism has reached its peak. It can temper a ghost aura into a fairy aura. There are tens of thousands of ghosts in the Ming dynasty, but none of them can do this. After the ghost fairy Li Chong manifested, he stood side by side with the little rabbit king who was eating carrots. No greeting either. Staring at the scene of the double dragon confrontation with both eyes, there was a confident smile in the corner of his mouth. This demon and ghost, before Yinglong was born, could be said to be the undisputed ruler of demons and ghosts in Tianxing Mountain. Their personal strength, even the Imperial court is extremely afraid. Whether it is the demon-slaying division or the immortal division, there is nothing to do with them. But at this time, the two big devils stood together in Zaishan. This seemingly peaceful picture, but cannot help but make people shudder. Because the strongest ghosts in the Ming dynasty seem to have the intention of joining forces. The little rabbit king giggled, and threw a red radish under the pressure. Ghost Immortal Li Chong caught it with one hand, and a hysterical scream came from his hand immediately. Desolate if free. It didn't care and just bit down. After taking this bite, a lot of juice gushes out from the broken part of the radish. No, it's blood. The rich blood also contained amazing energy. It shows that this radish is transformed by a powerful creature. How is the taste? Little Rabbit King asked. Not bad. Li Chong replied, and then continued. If I remember correctly, this is the second radish I ate from you. The first one was when I first came to Tianxing Mountain. At that time, I thought you would not welcome me to Tianxing Mountain, but I didn't expect you to have no objection at all. Even if I founded the Yingxian Valley and the power of ruling ghost cultivation gradually grew, you did not stop me from the beginning to the end. Pass. Little Rabbit King, I have always accepted your love, I am grateful. As it spoke, it took a deep look at Little Rabbit King. At that time, Li Chong was already a ghost and god, and he was promoted to the first rank, which can be said to be the pinnacle. But in the end, he rebelled against Gongshan Si, and he was like a bereaved dog. They can only go to Tianxing Mountain, a place outside the law. Most importantly, it was still seriously injured. If Little Rabbit King couldn't tolerate it, there would be no hidden immortal valley in Tianxing Mountain. But the Little Rabbit King grinned. You can rule Tianxing Mountain and even the ghosts in the world, that is your ability. Tianxing Mountain welcomes any monsters to join. This has been the case since ancient times, unless you want to take this mountain as your own. With your little rabbit king sitting in Tianxing Mountain, this immortal has never thought of it like this. So you are smart, so you can eat this second radish. Little Rabbit King said with a smile on his face. Wang looked at Lin Badao's Yinglong. I wanted to invite it to be a radish, but unfortunately, the overlord of the dragon might not like this one. Li Chong said in a slightly cold tone, Tianxing Mountain is Tianxing Mountain. Even the overlord of the dragon can't do anything recklessly. In front of your little Rabbit King, it is nothing more than a junior. It's too early to become big. Speaking of 1,000 words and 10,000, all the big mountains of Tianxing Mountain, regardless of the power of demons and ghosts, have already given Yinglong enough face. Yingxian Valley also gave Yinglong a big gift. But who would have thought that Yinglong still wanted to trample the demons of Tianxing Mountain under him? I am the only one. Based on what you said, I would have turned Yinglong into a radish, and I would share it with you. Li Chong immediately expressed his thanks with a half bow. This simple conversation between the demon and the ghost, understatement, has already regarded Yinglong as a meal on the plate. The shocking situation on the top of the mountain couldn't help but twist. Talk big, but not big talk. Because they are the two most powerful ghosts in the Ming dynasty, although Yinglong is terrifying. But in their view, the foundation is too shallow. They don't want to touch Yinglong's reverse scale now, but want to kill the dragon directly. Because Tianxing Mountain will never allow a real master to appear. This is a place outside the law of the Ming dynasty, only everyone can do it. Here's the bottom line, high altitude on the other side. The Nilong, which gathers the world's ghost energy, is invincible and challenges Yinglong's authority. Make the world fearful. Unfortunately, with the passage of time, the ghostly Nilong has been passively beaten. It couldn't even get close to Yinglong's body. A piece of purple gold bamboo, like a wishful golden cudgel, opened and closed, and the evil dragon he beat was roaring and roaring continuously. Screaming again and again, the majestic and turbulent ghost aura cannot be brought into play. The clouds flickered with thunder. When the war drum is set up, it is a thunderous catharsis. Yinglong is too strong. Dragons come in various shapes and forms, and their methods are powerful. Move your body a little, and when the opportunity arises, you will have the great supernatural powers of swallowing wind and rain, falling thunder and breathing fire. As long as he thinks about it, even if he diverts the river, divides the mountains and avoids the sea, he can do whatever he wants. Omnipotent, because the one in front of him is not a 3-clawed real dragon, but a 5-clawed Yinglong who has already won the world. A mere evil dragon, even if it gathers the ghost energy of the world, it is nothing but a dead thing. Even if the dragon falls, it is this dead thing that falls. The world looks up to the sky. This posture, since the birth of the Snake King, he has been certified as Jackie Chan. Everyone poses like this all the time. The location of Tianxing Mountain has become a must-see channel for everyone. It seems that every once in a while, there will always be earth-shattering events. Attract the world's attention. Those loyal and obsessed believers couldn't figure out why those ghosts dared to oppose their Yinglong Tianju. Not enough lessons learned from the past. The destination of the Dragon Palace is either with Zhonghai, or with the mountaintop, or with Juyu, or with Judian. It all depends on Yinglong's will. How can it be controlled by others? Even the emperor of Ming dynasty is the same. A mere ghost, it's like death. Please come on, Master Long Tianju. Countless believers lit 3 sticks of incense unknowingly, and worshipped with high incense in the air. One after another, they turned into Yinglong's supporting fans. Those fiery little eyes of admiration wished to give Yinglong a thumbs up and support crazily. Not to mention that the ghosts are against Yinglong. Even in the Ming dynasty, the common people are probably on Yinglong's side. It is said that those who win the hearts of the people win the world, and Yinglong's prestige is stronger than the power of the heavenly dragon he exudes. While the evil dragon was being beaten continuously, the ghosts hidden in the sky and the earth were dying out at an astonishing speed. Li Chong, the ghost fairy, binds all the ghosts with one hand, and the ghosts transform into dragons, and they hang on the dragon tree. It seems to be awesome and coaxing, forcing Grammon. But it also indirectly pushed the world's ghosts into the endless abyss. Ordinary people naturally don't feel that the ghosts in the world are dying out visible to the naked eye. But the majestic old face of the city god, who was watching the opera in the palace, was about to bloom. He is in charge of the Yin Division, a first-class judicial justice, and is very sensitive to such matters. The city god can feel that the ghosts in the Ming dynasty are decreasing rapidly whenever the Yinglong bears the attack of the Yinglong. It seemed to resist, but behind it were thousands of ghosts turned into ashes. He felt that if Yinglong continued to do this, Gong Shantong would have to take a vacation. Just for a while. In the territory of the Ming dynasty, it took 10 years for the number of ghosts in the world to recover. If Yinglong completely kills the evil dragon transformed by ghost energy, for 100 years in the territory of the Ming dynasty, it is impossible to see the scene of 100 ghosts walking at night. Even if there are individual ghosts, they cannot form a large scale. Can't make a climate. Your Majesty, can you feel it? Cheng Wang couldn't help looking at Ming Xuanwang excitedly. At this time, Ming Xuanwang's eyes flashed with a sharp cold light. He nodded heavily, and immediately cheered up. I have seen the bright universe of my Ming dynasty. The ghosts in the world will disappear on a large scale, and the muddy world will naturally become clear. There are no ghosts claiming their lives, and the people live and work in peace and contentment. It can be said that a prosperous age is coming. Point 0. Ha ha ha. Yinglong, you really deserved it. I gave you the name Sky Candle. Hold up a piece of sky for Daming, and erect a beam of light for the people. Ming Xuanwang was obviously proud, so foresighted. Said that he, the emperor, was wise and mighty. Who dares to object? However, the Ming emperor completely ignored the name Tianju, which was rejected by Yinglong at first. He was also annoyed by this for a long time. Wei Yan, who was on the left below, felt uncomfortable. He took great pains to build the dragon palace and send it out, thus creating a situation where the demon world unites to react to the dragon. The purpose is for Yinglong to slay demons and eliminate demons for the demon slayer. Unexpectedly, Gong Shanxi picked up a big leak invisibly. The ghosts in the world are constantly disappearing with Yinglong's attack. The astonishing number of deaths made Wei Yan feel envious and jealous. Cheng Wang didn't do anything. Why did he become the biggest winner? The more Wei Yan thought about it, the more unpleasant it became, and he almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. In the end, he was so angry that he said like a resentful woman, Cheng Wang, you have to pay half of the cost of building the Dragon Palace for the immortal secretary. Cheng Wang glanced at Wei Yan, whose face was not his face, and his nose was not his nose, and he nodded generously, yes. The sound of yes shocked Wei Yan, and he didn't dare to say it, really. Before your Majesty, what I say is of course the truth. The city god stroked his beard and said, but I am offering to the gods and spirits, and I use ghost coins. Your lord won't mind it, will you? Don't mind. Wei Yan's face started to twitch. If the emperor wasn't here, he would be yelling curses now. What a fool. He doesn't mind too much, okay. Wei Shuzun, half of the cost of building the Dragon Palace will be paid by the internal treasury for you. Emperor Zan of the Ming dynasty died very quickly due to the ghosts in the world. Long Yan was very happy, and he waved his hand directly. Atmospheric or not, when Wei Yan heard this, he smiled happily, thank you, your Majesty. Originally, in order to build the Dragon Palace, the demon-killing division consumed too much money. For at least 3 years, the officials of the demon-slaying division have to tighten their pants to live. This no longer appears to be the case. All happy mountain. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.